Amid an ongoing feud between two high-profile rappers, a shooting outside one of their homes has left a security guard in critical condition. The battle and rap feud between rappers Kendrick Lamar and Drake have been making headlines in recent weeks. The two continue to fire proverbial shots at one another through a numerous amount of diss tracks. But amid the feud, a violent twist when a shooting outside Drake's Toronto mansion left his security guard seriously injured and in critical condition. The shooting happened early Tuesday morning around 2:30 a.m. outside Drake's $100 million Toronto mansion. According to police with the Toronto Police Service's Integrated Gun and Gang Task Force, the security guard was standing outside the mansion in front of the gates when the shooting occurred, in what reportedly was a drive-by shooting. Police say the suspects were seen inside a vehicle, but it's unclear at this time what type of vehicle was used, how many suspects there were, and what they looked like.
We're dealing with video quality issues, correct? So as we have information and we're able to analyze video better, then we'll be able to provide more information.
As for the motive, Inspector Paul Krawchuk says that currently remains unclear.
I cannot speak to a motive at this time because it's so early, but as we get information, we will share it with you.
Investigators say it's unclear if Drake was at his Toronto home at the time of the shooting, but authorities have been in communication with Drake's team and the rapper is cooperating with the investigation. During the press conference, authorities were asked if the ongoing beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar motivated the shooting.
I am aware of what you're talking about, but it is so early in the investigation that we don't have a motive at this time. And so I cannot comment further on that.
Drake, whose real name is Aubrey Graham, and Kendrick Lamar have been feuding in arguably one of the biggest recent beefs in rap history. And the two have been exchanging back and forth for years. But in recent weeks, the rap blows have intensified. It wasn't always this way for the two high-profile rappers. Over a decade ago, Kendrick Lamar and Drake used to be friends and collaborated on songs together, such as Drake's 2011 Buried Alive interlude, Kendrick's 2012 Poetic Justice, and A$AP Rocky's Effin' Problems. But a year after Poetic Justice and Effin' Problems were released, the feud between Kendrick and Drake publicly ignited. In 2013, Kendrick was featured on rapper Big Sean's Control, where he called out several rappers, including Meek Mill, Pusha T, A$AP Rocky, Wale, Big Crit, Drake, and even Big Sean. Rapping the lines, "I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you. Trying to make sure your core fans never heard of you." Drake responded to the lines saying, quote, "I know good and well that Kendrick's not murdering me at all in any platform." Fast forward to a decade later, rapper J. Cole seemingly reignited Drake and Kendrick's feud with the song First Person Shooter. Cole rapped, "Love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K-Dot, is it Aubrey, or me?" The line references what some rap fans believe to be the big three and who is on top of the current rap game, Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole. But Kendrick, through lyrics a few months later, responded to the line saying the big three, it's just me. J. Cole responded back, releasing 7-Minute Drill, but later apologized. But it didn't stop Drake from responding later. He released 2 diss tracks, one of which was a partial AI-generated song using artificial voices of rapper Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Kendrick responded in the now viral Euphoria, followed by 616 in LA. We need to take a quick break from this story. If you know us at Law&Crime, you know Morgan & Morgan is a proud sponsor of ours. And as viewers, sometimes our videos show the world isn't always safe. So if you're ever hurt, it can be confusing and scary, especially if you don't know where to turn. But we've got a little solution up our sleeves because Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, can help. Like myself, and I'm sure millions of others, we always have our phones around. And guess what? You can submit a claim right now from your phone, and with just the click of a button, your injury could be worth millions. Plus, Morgan & Morgan doesn't settle for lowball offers. In the past couple of months, they've gotten verdicts of $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philly, and $6.8 million right here in New York. All of these, by the way, were significantly higher than the highest insurance offer. So if you're injured, you can easily start by submitting a claim at www.forthepeople.com/LCnews or by dialing #law, that's #529 on your phone. Then the blows took a personal and alleged criminal turn. On May 3rd, Drake released Family Matters alleging domestic violence by Kendrick toward his longtime fiancée. The next day, Kendrick responded alleging Drake fathered a secret daughter, but notably labeled the former actor turned rapper as a predator. Kendrick doubled down by releasing another song hours later, titled Not Like Us, alleging Drake was a pedophile, was covering up for other alleged sex predators in Drake's camp, as well as accusing Drake of being complicit in a child trafficking ring, rapping the line, "Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to Cell Block 1." The choice for the album cover was alarming and eerie, as Kendrick decided to use a photo of Drake's Toronto mansion known as the Embassy, the very mansion where the shooting took place, as the cover photo. Drake responded a day after Kendrick's diss by dropping the Heart 6 on May 5th, just 2 days prior to the shooting at his mansion. But have the rappers' blows toward one another prompted the violence at Drake's Toronto home?
Well, we're no stranger to this type of violence in Chicago, obviously, because we have many, many local rappers who get involved with, I think they call it driller rap here in Chicago, and we have shootings between the two factions very commonly. The fact that it happened in the neighborhood it happened in, that's a little different. We don't see that around here. 50,000 square foot home in Toronto, that's interesting.
I spoke with retired commander and homicide detective at Chicago PD, Lieutenant Will Spieler, who explains it's possible a fan could have taken the back and forth into their own hands.
In that type of neighborhood, you got to assume that there's some pretty good surveillance cameras going on. Yes, surveillance cameras, both at his house, neighbors' homes, roads leading up to the house, red light cameras, all of that. There's a canvas going on right now, probably. And they'll go out and revisit it for the people that weren't home when they knocked on the door, looking for video evidence, which is really, really outstanding. I wish they had more of that when I was a young detective, because the video evidence we have now is great. Surveillance. Shell casings. I'm assuming there's shell casings out there. Was there evidence taken from the security guard who was wounded? In other words, was he holding a bullet that they took? So you have forensics, you got ballistics, you've got the video. And absolutely, you got to knock on doors and ask some questions. Did Kendrick Lamar do it? No, of course not. But look at his following. Look at the influence he has, not only in this country, obviously, but also in Canada and other places in the world.
Rap music has for decades prompted feuds from legends such as Nas and Jay-Z, as well as the deadly violence that caused the tragic endings to Biggie and Tupac in the late 90s.
It could be like we saw with, we keep going back to Biggie and Tupac. It could be they're writing on them. They come back and write on them. And again, I don't see in this one, I don't see a gang nexus. I mean, I know Drake doesn't represent a gang. Kendrick was out from, Compton, I believe. And, there's lots of gangs out there. But I don't see Drake in that light. But it'll get worse. It will get worse. Unless they speak out and quash it. Because right now it's escalated so much. I've read a few of the lyrics. I mean, it looks like in Drake's last one, he kind of backed it off a little bit. I think he said something along the lines of, I'm glad your fan base is getting some raps. I'm glad I helped you get motivated or whatever. He said something like that. So kind of softened it a little bit. And that's what's going to have to happen. We're going to have to be bigger men about things. I mean, when you start talking about now your staff's getting injured and maybe civilians are going to get injured and maybe the round goes through the window and hurts a family member, they have to take that stuff into consideration, and they have to start being sensible about things. You don't like him, he doesn't like you. What are you going to do? But like you said, the allegations about pedophilia and things like that, that's pretty serious. And here's another thing: a lot of people in the world, in their fan base, will take that very serious. Pedophilia. When you start talking about things like that, now that might strike a chord with somebody, and that may cause them to react. So there's so many things in these lyrics. They're so powerful. And just firing it back and forth at each other, like you said, with the social media, everything flows, and it flows right now. So they're going to have to squash this, the two of them.
While Kendrick and Drake exchanged heated words and made severe accusations about one another, Spieler says their lyrics are protected by the First Amendment, but the allegations could prompt a lawsuit.
So it's tightrope. First Amendment rights, it's a tightrope. They can say whatever they want in their songs. If you make a specific allegation with a specific victim at a specific time, then law enforcement may be able to go in and say, all right, wait a minute, let's see what's going on here. But as far as law enforcement saying, stop what you're saying, no, you have First Amendment right to express yourself. And I respect that, and we all respect that. But if you start making specific allegations, that are false, now you're on the civil end of it. Now you got one can say to the other, they're going to sue you for libel. But as far as legally, unless you have a specific allegation, it's difficult to start, and a victim, you gotta have a victim. It's difficult to start an investigation, especially because now we're across state lines, or country lines, I should say, borders, we're across borders.
While at this time the motive for the shooting is unclear, as police have not confirmed if it's related to the ongoing beef, Spielar says social media has fueled feuds to new levels.
I think social media fuels it, 10 times worse than back in Biggie and Tupac's days. Because like you said, everything is instant. One song comes out, he drops another one. Boom, it's out, it's out, it's out. Everybody hears it. Everybody's getting worked up. And it's like you said, it's instant. And it's not only instant, but it's worldwide, not just countrywide, but it's worldwide. So, I mean, just think about that. Think about all the people that are looking at their phones and all of a sudden now this drops and you're a Kendrick fan or you're a Drake fan, whatever side you fall on. And, some people just take it obviously to the extreme because they think this rapping stuff, and it is, a lot of it's personal and it's real, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be entertainment.
That's
Some
right.
people don't take it as entertainment. They don't take it as just an insult thing. They take it as personal affront to a person who they may hold in very high esteem, and they're going to react to it. Certain people react certain ways. Some people just turn to the dialogue. Other people don't. They get guns.
And we need to still learn more about what caused the shooting. If it was prompted by the rap beef, Spielar says the two need to make amends or the violence could continue.
We suspect what the cause is because if it's anything else, that's really surprising. And a way to fix it so nobody else gets hurt. It's got to be between the two guys. I mean, the two men have to get to find some common ground. And it's unfortunate because until that happens, you may see more violence, you may see more injuries, maybe deaths, which we don't want to see, obviously.
At this time, the security guard remains in critical condition. Toronto police are still investigating the shooting and ask anyone with leads to give them a call. As for Drake, he hasn't publicly released a statement at this time in regards to the shooting. Reporting for Law&Crime, I'm Elizabeth Millner.